Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Away from Keyboard. I'm John Messe. Joining me is LordKnight, very well known international fighting game player, content creator, and just all around pretty swell guy. LordKnight, how's it going today?
What's going on, bro? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate
Of
it.
course. Yeah.
So one thing I always just like to start off with off the bat, just kind of get things started. Where did you get your handle, LordKnight?
Lord Knight. It's a little bit of a story actually, even though it's like kind of a simple name. One, this name is like used in a lot of not a lot, but a couple of different franchises. It's actually from Fire Emblem, but back in like high school days when I was starting the first game I played competitively for real was a SSBM Melee. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried to sign up for Smash Boards, and what I would do at the time is like I would always choose like characters that I liked as like my forum name, just for like whatever I was into at the time. But so at the time, and actually still now, at that time I like just played the fourth Fire Emblem game, via the Seven Seas, and the main character I just love the main character is a guy named Sigurd. However, someone already had the name, and I don't like doing like how some people like let's say like Justin Wong, he does Justin Wong with like three G's and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of ugly. So I didn't want to be like the gird for one number one or whatever. So I was like, instead I'll use the class instead, and no one had the name. So when
Mhm.
I had that, I was like, okay, that's it, and I've stuck with that name basically ever since.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you said your first competitive fighting game was Smash Brothers.
Mhm.
Have you always played fighting games like when you were little, or was that kind of like your first like breach into the world of it?
I was kind of like a lot of people. Like I played Street Fighter 2 when I was little on SNES. But that's really it. So even though like I remember playing video games basically as far back as I can, so around like 3 years old, I have memories of me playing video games like 3 4 years old. The only fighting I really played was Street Fighter and Art of Fighting. They were both on SNES.
Hmm.
After that, I don't really play any like fighting game until like Smash Bros. Really 64, which I played a lot of Smash 64, like a lot of Smash 64. And then when Melee came out, it's a pretty common story. Like you play with your friends. There's a couple of people out of the friend group who are like the best out of the friend group, and then eventually maybe since I played Halo, so I played Halo also, Halo 2, and if you didn't play that game, that was a pretty big deal because it was on Xbox Live, so it's like net play on console. So that's like making it mainstream, I guess, like more mainstream. And it had a rank system, leveling system. You level to 50, and once you get to level 50, there's like a secret rank above it, kind of like Celestial and Guilty Gear, except it's
Hmm.
harder to get.
Yeah.
It's kind of harder to get than that. So when you get that, I was reading on online forums like, yo, if you get this, you can try pro play. Like you should try legitimately pro play. And I was like, all right. And there was I don't I'm pretty sure the people are around. It's called like Major League Gaming. So I went to
Oh
an
yeah.
MLB event that was near me, but half of the Halo's 4v4, right? Half the
Mhm.
Halo team that we built just ditched. They're just
Uh-oh.
like, you know what? I don't want to go. It's like an hour away. I don't want to go. So I ended up playing Melee there
Wow.
also, because I was like, like I win Melee real quick. We'll see how we do in Halo. But I got smoked in Melee, like really bad, and I thought the people who I lost to were dumb. I clearly remember being like, this guy's not smarter than me. And I was
Mhm.
like, I beat a Wave Dasher. I remember thinking like, I was like, oh, I beat a Wave Dasher without any of these cheap glitches and stuff. And then when I
Mhm.
got home, I was like, these dudes aren't smarter than me, bro. I'm gonna learn this game instead. And that's that's kind of how I got started with all this.
That's the fighting game classic.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah.
oh, this dude can't beat me. Come on, man.
No, yeah.
That's so funny.
Mhm.
So aside from Smash, you play a lot of anime fighters. You have a long history with like Melty Blood, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, obviously. What about those kinds of fighting games attracts you more than something like just for like Street Fighter or like other sorts of fighting games of different styles?
So this is also gonna sound pretty funny, but like the first time I saw Melty Blood, I was like, "What is? Am I allowed to curse?" I almost,
Yeah, yeah,
I
you're
definitely,
good.
oh yeah. I
Mhm.
was like, I was like, dude, what is this shit, bro? Like this is bad because I had a friend. I had a friend in high school who actually played a lot of fighting games,
Hmm.
and via the Seven Seas, and we were playing like Guilty Gear Sharp Reload and Melty Blood. I actually thought Guilty Gear was really cool the first time I saw it, and
Right.
I played May and Johnny, and then I had like Smash Brain, so in Smash, there's like Fox and Falco or like the space animals, right? For
Yeah, yeah.
example. So I was like, oh well, May and Johnny are both like the jellyfish pirates. I should play Dizzy also because she's a pirate too. Like
Hmm.
that's how I picked my characters back in the day. But the first time I saw Melty, I was like, this game's cap, bro. Like, what is this? It's like Maid versus Kid. Like, this is pretty stupid.
Hmm.
But between I ended up playing Tsukihime, reading Tsukihime, and then I I don't actually know why my friend bought this, but he bought so there used to be Japanese nationals used to be called Super Battle Opera, the
Okay.
Togeki. Yeah.
Hmm.
And the production level, I implore you to look up Togeki 2004. Okay. And the production level is outrageous for 2004. Like, if you compared like what was going on in fighting game tournaments in the US, and obviously I'm not playing, I'm literally not competing in any fighting game. I'm playing Halo during this time,
Right.
right? Then like it's like I'm watching this. So the DVD he bought, by the way, was 2000. I want to say 6, I think.
Hmm.
So they have like a stage and a boxing ring. They have the arcade cabinets there. They have intros for everybody. Everybody walks out to the ring. They like pop off a little bit. Everyone's cheering, and then there's like a guy with a mic screaming during all the games and stuff. It was hype. And he bought the Melty Blood DVD, and I was like, yo, this is hype. And that's actually why I started playing Melty Blood. The first time I saw Melty Blood, I was like, this game's corny, actually. So I played Melty Blood for a while, and what ended up happening is originally I just thought Street Fighter was kind of boring because Melee is a pretty fast-paced game, and then
Hmm.
Multi Blood's also a fast-paced game, relatively fast-paced game. Both games have a lot of movement options.
Hmm.
Neutral is a really big part of the game, but you're also like moving quite a bit and baiting stuff, and like your first experience with like tournament Street Fighters, people walking back and forth, throwing a lot of fireballs, it's kind of hard. Like, I think if Street Fighter was a new game today, it would be kind of hard for people to understand what is cool about that type of game. Even though I learned over time what is cool actually about Street Fighter. But at the beginning, I was like, bro, people are screaming for Ken doing, because Third Strike was the game at the time I was playing Multi Blood. So
Hmm.
like people are screaming for Ken doing like overhead. Like who gives a fuck, bro? This game is corny.
Hmm.
Plus they had huge egos and used to talk shit about Multi Blood all the time. So I was like,
Oh
fuck
yeah.
these guys. That's also why I didn't play Guilty Gear for a long time, because Guilty Gear
Hmm.
players at the time was like, fuck Multi Blood, fuck Blaze Blue. So I just was like, fuck your game, bro. Your game's stupid. Who gives a fuck?
Hmm.
So I
Super
kind of just
territorial.
yeah, because I kind of just ended up staying with that. And then when Persona came out, I legitimately liked Persona. Like, I love Persona. I know other
Hmm.
people played it because like Arxis game or an anime game, but like I love Persona 4 and I love Persona 3. So that's like that game being announced is like, dude, are you for real, bro? Like, you made a game for me? like for me? Like, what do you
Hmm.
mean? Yeah. So and then by the time Exert came out, I'm like, well, I'd just be playing anime games at this point. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you're a kind of player who you're known for spending a lot of time in training mode, coming up with solutions to problems. Like I've seen, like, on your stream that something will go a certain way in a match, and as soon as it's over, you immediately jump into training mode. You try to find the answer to it. Um, what are your general like practice habits and approach to learning when it comes to fighting games?
I mean, I think that's the main thing. Basically, uh, so I've actually grown a lot in from this perspective. I actually used to think there was a one true playstyle. There was
Hmm.
like a perfect playstyle, and there's always like a perfect solution to problems. But probably the most important thing I learned from Guilty Gear specifically, and probably the biggest thing about older Guilty Gear games compared to Strive, is that there's not always a best answer to something. And that's where a lot of like where actual like player expression and like freedom comes from, is actually from questions the game poses to you that don't have very clear answers.
Mhm.
So a lot of what I try to do is that I try to build situations so I could make the best choice that I think I can in the moment that will have the highest chance of success, basically. Some people have this more intrinsically, like,
Mhm.
sometimes people talk about like, oh, I'm a heart player and stuff, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of time when people say that, I'm like, yeah, sure, buddy, but like that does actually exist. There is an actual high level of that type of player. It
Mhm.
is real, where
Yeah.
like they will see the thing that happens 1 in 1,000 times. They've never seen it before, and they just do something, and it like works. But it just doesn't work for me. I usually freeze up actually when I see something that is really weird and I don't know what to do. So that's why I go back a lot and be like, all right, like against this I do this, against that I do that. I use this when I'm not sure what to do. Like you use this for generally this. It's a bit of a slower process, but at least I found a lot of success with it. So it's just a way that makes sense for me. And the other thing I like about it too is that it it makes me feel like I truly understand what's going on, and that when I communicate about the game, I can be really specific about what's going on and very clear about what's going on to people. And it makes me feel like I actually understand what's going on. Especially when you talk about more esoteric fighting game ideas that are like kind of hard to explain. Like
Mhm.
the fact that I feel like I could explain those to somebody who only knows like the very, very basics, I'd have to show them. I can't just tell them. I have to show them too. But um it makes me feel like I have a good understanding, even if I'm not always correct or successful.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So you're as a content creator and just generally as a player, you're very welcoming to new players. A lot of people come to you for advice and things like that, and just kind of going off the training mode thing. One of the barriers that people have getting into fighting games is obviously that it's very difficult to learn them on your own. And fighting games have gotten better at that kind of stuff by including combo trials and some games like LordKnight, and I think Granblue has like very extensive tutorials now as well. But a lot of times people they pick a character, they go through their 10 top combo trials or whatever, and then they kind of don't know what to do from there. What kind of advice would you give a new player specifically for like going into training mode and like learning about their character? What kind of advice would you give someone besides learn your bread and butter, you know?
To be honest, the main advice I get to people who are like starting and want to get into it is I really try to tell them to either hop online, like, and play like a friend
Hmm.
ASAP, play like a one player mode, and then just like make sure you learn like a really basic combo and like a couple of main things that your character does. I think that's a pretty good starting point. One thing I think fighting games can do better is like, so you mentioned like Undernight, for example, and everyone's like, Undernight has an amazing tutorial. Technically, it does. I played the Uni tutorial.
Hmm.
It does because it does tell you everything, but I don't actually think it's the best like tutorial or like way to learn. It's good for the person who learns like that for sure, but
Hmm.
not everyone does. I feel like stuff like SF6 World Tour and like the Grand Blue story mode probably needs to be repeated more and expanded upon, because
Hmm.
there's some games that are like, I mean, they're one player games, but they are technically like technical action games, like DMC and like Bayonetta and stuff. And
Hmm.
you literally just learn from playing. Or like even Smash has this, like that, the high level casual,
Yeah.
that usually the person who transitions from casual to competitive play is like a high level casual, right? They know stuff about the game. How do they know stuff about the game? Because one, you have to unlock all the characters, which is a bunch of arcade mode and adventure mode, and break the targets, all this stuff. So you have to learn or figure out techniques on your own to do these things. And I think in like kind of like the esports era of fighting games of like SF5, when everyone's trying to transition to making it more of a spectacle type of things,
Hmm.
they really left this thing behind, and it needs to come back and be focused on more, I think. Because people
Gotcha.
can learn on their own. People can learn actually on their own. They don't need like a mountain of text, or like dust loop or something. Like,
Hmm.
is the info being there is great, of course, but it's hard to like immediately implement, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you brought up the World Tour mode, and I think one of the things that really impressed me about the World Tour mode was you learned the practicals of playing a fighting game through the matches. So, like, sometimes there would be like little drone guys that, they fly around and they swoop down, so they're teaching you how to anti-air. Or, there's guys, they're like throwing barrels at you or something. They're teaching you how to jump over fireballs. And I think that kind of stuff is like really helpful for someone, especially, Joe Schmo who's never touched a fighting game before. Like, those are concepts that he can understand and then immediately start applying to the game.
I agree. I actually think that's the best type of tutorial. I think even Strive has a pretty good mission mode, but I still think that mission mode is targeted towards people who have played a fighting game before or a little bit. Like, if you've never played a fighting game ever, even Strive's mission mode is like to like text, blah blah blah. Wouldn't want to do it. I think having it in like one player modes tied to like story and stuff is the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So with the kind of characters that you play as, usually you like characters with a lot of trying to think of how to describe it for someone who doesn't play fighting games, but you like to create situations that you're like fully in control over. You knock someone down, and then you are going to run your game plan on them, and you have solutions prepared for like every possible outcome. Would you say that describes you outside of fighting games? Are you the kind of person that really likes to, be organized and always kind of on the ball with everything, or like outside, or are you a little looser with stuff?
Not at all. I'm chill, dude.
Yeah.
I'm chill. I'm chill. The main reason I even do all this like option building and research is just like I don't trust people.
Yeah.
So I need to know. I just need to know like what they're doing and why, and like how to control it and how to counter it, like in game. But like outside of game, I'm pretty chill. Like I'm just, I'm just getting by. I'm not like hyper controlling or anything like that.
Yeah. The defensive driver of fighting games.
Yeah, basically.
So you've traveled all over the world. You've had a pretty long career with fighting games. What are some of your favorite spots that you've been to, either through competition or just recreationally?
High key, this is gonna sound really corny, but I think the world is a beautiful place. Like everywhere has good, amazing, interesting things. And I know it sounds kind of corny, but I don't have like I think, for example, like let's say like all fighting game stuff was only in the US, it would be a lot easier for me to be like, I like this place in the US, I like that place in the US, and this place kind of sucks. But when you start, I don't know, there's something about like international where you just I had a discussion with a friend about this. Like I'm so like overstimulated by like just everything, even like the most mundane things when I'm like away, like in like a different place. Like just like even like the way the buildings look and like cracks in the street. I'm just like, oh my god, like dude, like look at that. Like I just So I think a lot of places are just really interesting. Like Europe's cool, Japan's cool. If you're a gamer, you're gonna rate Japan really highly in general, or if you like anime, you're gonna rate Japan really highly in general. So to like actually kind of give an answer, I am gonna give love to LATAM. I've been really lucky to go to Latin America a lot these past like 5 years or so, and they're kind of like a slept-on region. For a lot of reasons, they're like a slept-on region. So despite me thinking everywhere is super cool, to answer the question, I'm gonna say Latin America in general, like Mexico. Like I go to Mexico a lot. We just came back from Brazil for Arc World Tour like a couple weeks ago. So I'm gonna give LATAM some love on this.
Very cool. Shout outs to LATAM.
Yeah.
You're also multilingual. Is this something that came about because you were traveling and competing so much, or was this kind of always something that you've had in your background?
Yeah, it's because of like life circumstances, So like I was born in the US, like I'm born in New York City, but when I was like really young, like 6 years old, my family moved to Europe. I mean, they moved to France for work, for my mom's work. So since I was so young, this is France is kind of like the US of Europe, you know. I mean,
Mhm.
technically it's UK, but France has this shit too. So like you go to like you know like how when people come to the US they have like ESL. So they have that in France too. So I had to go to a separate school only to learn French. I was just grinding French nonstop for like 6 months.
Mhm.
So like I forget basically like 80 to 90% of English and live there for 3 years and then come back here. So I had to relearn English here.
Mhm.
So the
That's
whole
crazy.
reason I sound the way that I do is because I relearned English in outside of New York. So
Mhm.
not in New York City. I don't think there's like videos of me as a kid, but like my me and my family is like, yeah, when you were like little, you did not talk like this, sound like this, anything. Like I had to relearn English. And then also my family is not from the US either. They're immigrants. So
Okay.
then they have their own language. So I can't speak it very well, but I like understand it.
Mhm.
So that's already like it's just like from life. I just happen to know this. And then for fighting games, I was like, well, you know, at the time I'm starting, like Japan is like the mecca. So I'm like, oh, I want to go one day and like play people and like talk to people because I like this. So I should learn Japanese. It's actually far more motivated by fighting games and like liking anime. I don't like anime like that much. To be honest, right now I don't even watch anime really. Um, but I was like, yeah, for fighting game stuff though, I'm like super motivated though.
Yeah.
So I learned Japanese so I could one day go and like play and like talk to people and stuff. And yeah, it's just life circumstance really. If I would say Japanese is probably the and Spanish are like the two languages I learned because of like traveling
Mhm.
stuff. Where like the other three is just because of like life stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool
Nice
that
choice.
no, it's just cool how the stuff that affected you as you were little, now it's so practical now that you're going all over the place and you have to speak to so many different people. It's just funny how things work out that way, I guess.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you also rep Fit FGC. How did your fitness journey begin?
Dude, I'm not normal, bro. Okay,
Mhm.
pretty much, I watched a top 8 in Guilty Gear Xrd, and I remember I played Nerd Josh, right? And Spooky had started to get some nice equipment. They were making some money, started to get some nice equipment. I remember watching the review because it's like you said, like I'm always gonna check what happened to see if I could like improve in situations.
Yeah.
I pull up the VOD, I was like, bro, that's me, like. And,
Yeah.
and then I was like, nah, 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 nah. That's really it. I was like, bro, I'm not trying. Like, not only was I like, I'm not trying to get roasted by the stream chat, but I was also, I was working 9 to 5 at the time, office jobs, and I was like, my back hurts, and like all this
Yeah.
shit. So I was like, nah, nah, nah. That's it. It's so like I don't want the stream chat to talk shit about me because I was looking at it, I was like, dude, this is fucked.
No, that's plenty of motivation because
Yeah.
they're brutal. If
Yeah,
they
whatever
catch
works.
like a whiff of something, they will attack you for it.
I don't know
Um,
if you have like the family member thing of like a family member will like be like, "Yo, you're fucking fat," and you lose weight, and then they're like, "Yo, we're gonna get dessert after this. You want this?" That's what my family's like. It's like,
yeah.
oh fuck. I'm
Mhm.
like, why would you do this to me?
No, I
Yeah,
feel that 1,000%.
yeah.
Um, how did getting into fitness help you with fighting games in terms of like discipline or the grind or that sort of thing?
Mm, so I guess like a second thing is like at that time because that's you're talking like 2015. So at that time there were the Capcom there were Capcom players I think that were really like kind of leading the way in a lot of stuff. So the most common one, the most commonly known one, sorry, I would say, is that Tokido started going to the gym to help. He said it would like help like playing, right?
Hmm.
And it was a commonly known thing. There was like a meme going around of like I don't know if these dudes were from Russia or Belarus or something, but it was like a Counter-Strike team of Eastern European dudes, and they were like, yo, we were like, yo, why are these dudes so huge? Why? And the meme was like them. It's like we were getting shit on, by the way. It's like FPS players, and they have like a team of 5 huge and it was like a real team. It wasn't like a meme, like they like out of context. Like that
Yeah.
was the team. And then for FGC, they had a picture of Marn. I'm sorry, Marn. And
Oh,
they're like, this is why we're superior. I'm like, bro, that's fuck. And then you started hearing about certain players like taking care of their fitness more, both for competition purposes and because people are getting older. Capcom players are a little bit older than anime players, right? Like Daigo's like above 40, Kito's like 37, 38. Doesn't look it, but
yeah.
he's older, right? So there's that aspect, but then there's like lesser known ones, like one, for example, that I will always give this man props for this, even though he's not a totally well liked player, is Filipino champ at majors is clean, like goes to bed early, has strict diet, doesn't drink, doesn't go to the club, doesn't do no 420, no nothing to make sure he performs as good as possible. I used to drink during tournaments because I guess, so nervous that I was like, I can't block as well, but I'm not nervous and I'll mash, which I don't like mashing. So it's like, I'll fight back sometimes. But I stopped doing that because F-Champ, I heard F-Champ was like very pure. I went way, way, way back. There's actually like, there's a VOD, like the first time I played Watashi at CEO is like in top 8. And I quite literally woke up 5 minutes before that set, like Omega hungover. Like that's not good.
That's right. Yeah, that's rough.
Honestly. That's not good. That's really not good. So the fitness thing is like it's weird because I don't technically feel better. I feel like I feel the way I'm supposed to feel. I used to think like I had sleep problems. No, I just didn't do anything all day. I just sat around, I didn't walk around, I didn't use energy. So of course I can't sleep. Right? Like things like that. Or like I was like, like I have all this lower back pain. Like why? Oh, because I have no back muscles. So I'm hauling around like 205, 210 with like no actual strength. All the muscles you have is in your legs from carrying around, not on your back. So it's like I just feel kind of like normal.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I feel like I'm like super powered. I just feel like normal. Where like before I was like, like I don't know, I feel like weird. Like I feel like funky, but you're funky every day, so you think that's normal.
Yeah. I always say that there's no real downsides to getting in shape. It helps your body, your clothes fit better, you feel more confident, helps your focus. There's literally no reason. There's no downsides to being, healthy and active. And I think like all those benefits are, a great part of it. And there's people really discount all of the outside factors that go into your performance in like fighting games or just things in general, where you're saying like Filipino champ, living like, clean lifestyle when he's competing. I know like Daigo's talked about getting into like meditation and mindfulness, and that helps him really focus whenever he's grinding ranked or he's playing top 8s or what have you. So it all comes back around, and I think that's a valuable lesson for a lot of people. And last fitness question, I guess, would be what sort of fitness are you into? Are you into like weightlifting, cardio, body weight stuff, or just kind of a mixture of everything?
It's kind of a mixture of everything. This year I started using Olympic rings, and that's been pretty interesting and fun. I actually think I made a lot of strength gains this year because of that. But from the beginning, I was lucky enough to meet like a cool like personal trainer. So I have a personal trainer that helped me too a ton at the beginning. I still work with the guy, but he just helped me a ton at the beginning. Made sure I didn't get injured. Make sure I didn't try to like like we're dudes. So sometimes like guys get started at the gym and they try to like progress weight too fast and stuff like that. So that's why like I've never really gotten like any actual injuries. I've gotten close to injury, but not like actual like I can't fucking like train injuries. So it's just been a mix of everything,
Yeah, very cool. Outside of working out and obviously playing fighting games and creating content and stuff, what sort of other hobbies do you have?
I mean, like I like traveling. I know it's tied to fighting games, but I don't always travel just to compete. There have definitely been times where I use the tournament as an excuse to go to a place I want to go to,
Mm-hmm.
which is fun. I don't know, I'm kind of basic, like I like food, I like partying with my friends, when I get the opportunity. I'm pretty like, I find that like I think I'm really focused on stuff. It's gonna sound weird, but like sometimes people are like, oh well, I like biking and I like doing this, I that, and this and that and this. And like I would not be lying to you where like a big part of my day every day is like playing fighting games
Mm-hmm.
and studying fighting games and stuff. I just really love it.
Yeah.
It's actually a huge part of my day. I don't play I used to play like way more other video games. I don't so much now. I probably at my peak of would be playing like 20 to like 30 games in a year, where right now I probably play like 4 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the year. Depends on the year if there's like stuff I like or stuff I don't like. Like this year is kind of a banger year, so I played a bunch. But like last year I didn't really play, even though like crazy shit came out last year too. Like I didn't play all the stuff. I didn't play like Elden Ring, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I played Triangle Strategy. It's GOAT.
That's good. That's a good one.
That's a GOAT game. I love
Yeah.
that game. But yeah, so it's just like, like there's like working out is a hobby, but then like say like I like walking. I get my friends make fun of me because I'm like, yeah, you want to just walk? If I just like walking,
Mm-hmm.
I like traveling, food. I don't like I find from doing YouTube actually that I consume way more content than I used to.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly for like a study perspective and like trying to add stuff. It's kind of like fighting games.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like I'm not really like a movie watcher, don't really like watching TV. Uh Music kinda, but I don't think I'm as enthusiastic about music as some other people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kinda me.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. And I guess my last question before we go into like our little fun lightning round. In an alternate universe, where you are not a fighting game player, you're not a pro player, you're not a content creator. Well, we could say you would be, maybe you're a content creator in this universe. What do you think you would be doing? Like, as either a career or, hobbies, things like that.
Not gonna lie, I don't know. I might not be around. Real talk.
Yeah.
Like legit. I really don't know. I might not be I do I I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
know. Like I had like a 9 to 5 job for a while, like a few jobs for a while,
Hmm.
but like in 2018, basically when Dragon Ball came out, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna re-up because a lot of these were like contract jobs. I'm sure people who are like more around my age, like uh anyone who graduated college in like 2011, 2012 can kind of relate. Like pretty hard. I even had connections too. Like I had some connections and I had like
Hmm.
some good job interview opportunities. I just didn't get them. So I was just doing like contract work for a while.
Right.
And when Dragon Ball came out, I was like, all right, if I can't do this esports thing in a year, drop fighting games. Like I just what do you do? I didn't even know that YouTube was like an option
Hmm.
really
Yeah.
at that time. I didn't do YouTube for another. Dragon Ball came out in 2018, so another like year and a half basically. I didn't do YouTube like seriously.
Yeah.
So I really, really do not know. Like it could have been bad. Honestly, I was in a pretty bad place when Dragon Ball came out. Up until I got signed and got into Summit, I was in a pretty bad place. So I don't know. I'm being very honest. I really don't know. It was bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was doing stand up for a little while, like two
Wow.
3 years before that. That was very fun. It was going okay. The main reason why I stopped is because I got started playing fighting games full time.
Hmm.
So maybe I'll be doing that. But like I said, I don't know. I
Hmm.
really don't know. I think I don't know. I really don't know.
No, that's a
Yeah,
totally fine answer. It's something
yeah,
it's so core to you. You know what I mean? It's like how you can't even like see yourself without it.
yeah.
And the stand up thing is really cool. You didn't you don't strike me as the kind of guy that would just hop on stage, hop on a mic, and just start going off. So that's really cool, man.
It's the same as any. It's the same as any like any other skill, really. Of like you gotta like grind it a lot.
Hmm.
And I mean, if you think about it too, a lot of like let's say not so much YouTubers really, because like you one a lot of YouTubers like script. I don't actually like script YouTube very often. I do, but rarely. Most of the time, I outline because I have all the knowledge,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't have to like I don't have to like use Chat GPT or whatever. I'm memeing, but like
Yeah.
I try to talk about stuff that I've learned from my experience from playing. So
Hmm.
a lot of times I just outline stuff and I'll double check if I forget like a specific thing, like or if I want to know a specific number that I don't remember. And I also take notes on every game that I play. So usually I don't even check like Dustin. I check my old notes that I share with people.
Hmm.
So like it's all everything. I have everything. So stand up's kind of the same as that, and it's like streaming if you've watched like a good kind of entertaining streamer.
Hmm.
It's like that. It's kind of like that, you know. So it's not that bad.
Yeah,
It's
very
fun.
cool.
It's fun. It's actually really fun to do.
I was actually at a stand-up show last night, so it's funny
Yeah.
how everything connects back together. Um, all right, very cool. Now we just have to wrap things up. Just do like a little lightning round, just some kind of basic questions. You don't really have to think too hard about them, but it's just kind of a fun way to wrap things up. My first question would be, what was your favorite movie?
Uh, I guess I'll say I don't know. Lord of the Rings. I guess I saw that in theaters, so
Hmm.
that was good. Yeah, that was good. That was a good movie. That was a pretty
Yeah,
good movie. Yeah.
just as a whole, or any of them like in particular?
Probably like the first one because like the first one. So like I was kind of lucky to be like a teenager doing all these like so movies right now it's all like the like cinematic universes and they're just milking the shit, but like
Hmm.
there was an arc of like books becoming movies before, basically like before this Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. There was like the book arc. So they were like Lord of the Rings had their 3 movies, and then like there was Harry Potter had their movies, and also graphic novels were getting a lot of movies. Like Dark Knight, I think, is a graphic novel.
Yeah.
So there were I was really lucky to be a teenager during that time, and like it was I don't know, it was just crazy. I'm like, bro, like look, what are they doing? Like, this
Hmm.
is crazy. I was like, and I like fantasy stuff too. So I was just like, dude, like the scale of this is crazy. And I read the books when I was young too. So even though I read it, I was like, this is cool. But when you read it, especially as a kid, I bet if I read it now, I would appreciate some of these parts. But they have like parts where this is definitely hyperbole. So if someone's watching this and they like these books, please don't flame me. But they definitely have parts where it's like 40 pages of just like council shit. And they're
Yeah.
like, the council, da, da, da. And then the guy walked here, and he talked to this guy, and he walked here. And while that's
Hmm.
cool, in the movie they do it fine. And probably if I read it again, I would understand more about it. But on a first, especially since I played a lot of video games, on a first read, I'm like, bro, he is just walking and talking to people,
Yeah.
and he's just going back and forth. Like, what is happening, bro? And or like Harry Potter had this shit too. Like this I learned in real life why they do this. But like Harry Potter would have whole chapters, like 1 or 2 chapters, just dedicated to Quidditch lore, not the game
Yep.
lore of like his dad did this or this guy's cousin 50 years ago hit this. I'm like, bro, who gives a fuck, bro? We don't need this. But I had to go to Europe to learn why. That's for the Europeans. That's not for us.
Hmm.
That's
That's
for them. That's for them. That's not for us. Yeah,
that's so
but yeah,
funny.
I would say that I barely watch any. I get roasted by my friends all the time for not being like a big movie watcher because all the time they were spending being normal people enjoying movies and stuff. I'm playing like Final Fantasy 9 and like Bahamut Lagoon, if anyone's heard of that. Like I was like, man, so play RPGs, bro.
Yeah, you've been deep.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
deep. What is your go-to favorite comfort food?
Honestly, it's probably wings. I know it's
Wings.
pretty stereotypical, but
Hmm.
it's a nice test because if a place fucks up wings, they really suck. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
The wings are anti-fumble.
Yeah.
That too, and like since I do travel a lot, um, diet stuff. I have to like think about diet stuff. So wings are a nice compromise. Honestly, just like meet stuff
Mhm.
is usually a pretty good compromise. Because like you still get your protein and stuff, but you're not like being like I don't know, just like super uptight about like what you're eating and stuff. So like for example, like uh let's say like a like night before a tournament, I'm like there to like hyper sweat. I'm there with a couple friends. They order whatever. I get like wings, sauce on the side, and then like I'll get like a tequila soda lime or like a margarita or something that's like good, not a ton of calories. Still can enjoy drinks with friends. Like
Mhm.
I don't feel like not only is my occupation is not to be jacked, it's to play fighting games and make YouTube videos, but also is like I don't want to restrict myself in life like that too
Mhm.
much. Like obviously I won't go for something that's like super unhealthy, but I'm not gonna not go somewhere specifically because of like, oh, they only have carbs or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is meant to be enjoyed, after all.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
Um to be honest, probably so you mean with like an actual famous performer, right? Not like, or does it
Yeah.
matter?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Okay, so if you say that, I basically went to no concerts until I was like 23 or 24. So I live in New Jersey,
Hmm.
and so in my state, Princeton University's there,
Yeah.
and this is this is not commonly known. Every time I say this to somebody, they're like, "What?" But basically, there's like a 2 week period every year where Princeton shuts down the town for their annual reunion, where people, Princeton alumni, come back, and you can invite people. Well, if you're an alumni, you can just go,
Hmm.
and they give you tickets to give to like family and friends, and that's the only way people who haven't gone to Princeton can go. And unless if you play like Zelda 64, remember like when young Link you like climb the vines and stuff. So
Hmm.
I've done that. I
Oh, wow.
I've done that, yeah, with like other kids, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna sneak in. We're sneaking this thing. It's crazy. You don't know how crazy this shit gets. And they weren't kidding. Like once you get in, it's like the second largest alcohol order every year in the U.S. is Princeton University. They buy just a shit ton of alcohol, and they
Hmm.
just get like 1 year. The first year I went, the Roots were there, and it's just
Oh,
for
awesome.
like, yeah, just for like a bunch of. I mean, I should say it like that. Obviously, it's a very hard school to get into. These people have worked really hard for many, many years. They earned it. But
Hmm.
also, like, bro, they're just there. Like you see these people, these like super famous people performing in arenas and stuff, and then they're just like in the courtyard of a college, just going ham, and you have to sneak in like young Link crawl under like. I was actually pretty great when I got there. I was like, man, it's crazy that this
Hmm.
is my first concert. I had to like sneak in and like dodge guards and stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's just dope.
Just a whole stealth mission.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Vanilla.
Vanilla?
Yeah,
Very
so good.
nice.
I
Hmm.
don't care what people say, bro. That shit's good, bro.
No, dude, a nice vanilla bean, man. You really can't
Yeah.
go wrong with it.
With some
Uh,
gummy bears.
whew, that's nice.
Yes,
It's
sir.
like,
Couple blueberries sprinkle on top. Perfect.
so you know what's
Yeah,
up.
yeah, I know.
Um, Last question would be, what's your favorite time of year?
Mm, I personally quite enjoy summer and humidity.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people don't like it because it makes them feel uncomfortable, but I like feeling uncomfortable sometimes because it makes me appreciate when I feel comfortable. And we should struggle some. Like people should just. I'm not saying like you got to go out of your way, but like you need some pushback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think. And like weather-wise, oh fuck, shut up. I forgot to put my phone in airplane mode. I feel like it's good. It's like the cold shower meme. I know it's like a stupid meme, but like it really actually does feel super good to take a cold shower after
Yeah.
working out.
Hmm.
Yeah, it feels like great. So like like if there's like a blizzard in Northeast, I'll like go outside during the blizzard. I'm like, oh, just sit. I'll just be out for like 10 minutes, then pop back in, or like like when it gets really hot. I like hot weather. I like humidity. I
Hmm.
went, or like Vegas, for example,
Yeah.
like I would like go outside during the day. Like I'll walk the strip rather than like a lot of the casinos are connected on the inside.
Mhm.
Like you could walk from like let's say like Evo's at the Mandalay. The Mandalay is connected to the Delano, which is connected to Luxor. Oh, they're all
Mhm.
connected. So you could just not go outside. So I would just like go outside. Like the Luxor has like a gas station across from it, and like I was like, yeah, I hope they have like iced tea there. I would like walk to the gas station and I walk back. When I walk back, I'm like, dude, that's so hot. Like, why is it so hot?
Yeah.
Like, so I know it sucks, but like, also I'm like, bro, the desert is real, bro. Like,
Hmm.
there's some people who will never feel the heat of a desert, bro. And
Yeah.
and some people like good. Fuck the desert. It's hot. But I'm like, bro, like that's some people's life is they live in the desert.
Hmm.
Some people's life they live in the Arctic tundra. Some people live near the equator where it's like my family's from the Caribbean, so I went to the Caribbean during summer, and I'm just like, dude, it is so like 100% humidity, like, and I'm just like, and that's they just live like that, bro. So
Hmm.
I don't know. So I like times of year where there's like struggle bus weather
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah,
Adversity
I
builds character.
yeah, it builds character.
All right. Well,
Maybe I'm
this
weird.
was a this is a really awesome interview, man. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for sitting
no,
down with me, chatting it up. Do you have any social media or things you want to plug while you're here?
yeah. So my YouTube is LordKnight FGC. Um, and then my Twitch is LordKnight. Those are and Twitter is LordKnight BB. Those are probably the most common places where people would find me. One of my big goals for next year actually is to use TikTok.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm kind of slow. I don't know if slow is the right word, but like basically like content wise, I'll start something, but like I'll be kind of like indecisive about how to actually do it until I get like an idea of how to do it. So I like when Dragon Ball came out, I actually was doing videos for Dragon Ball pretty early, and if I just didn't stop, I
Mhm.
probably would be a lot bigger right now if I didn't stop. But I stopped until like a year and a half later, where I started, excuse me, having a better idea of like what I wanted to do, where do I fit, what's missing, in my opinion, that I could do. You know, people are very quick in the fighting game community to talk about the content aspect without doing it, only seeing the, I'm gonna say, highest level, not in like skill, like the skill of content creation, but like the
Mhm.
size of the content creator. And that's what they go on, and they don't think about like the strategy and planning and marketing of it all. So uh similarly to how people will do like, oh, like all you do for YouTube is not you being me or you, but like all a person would need to do to start on YouTube is like, you know, play some matches, upload them, go like in the thumbnail and like be like, this match was insane, right?
Mhm.
Because they see people who do that at a high level, high being they are have a lot of exposure, you know,
Right.
people know who they are. Uh and that's just not true. So there's also that with TikTok too and short form content too, where there's a lot of people who don't do any content who say, oh, like the growth glitch is to do short form content without, and they don't do it. So this my goal for next year is to do short form content. I wanted to do it this year, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I did try to do it. Like if you go on my like YouTube channel, there's a bunch of shorts there. But I didn't really know how I wanted to do it. And from doing my own research plus seeing what creators have inspired me, that I've learned from just from watching their stuff, I think I have something that I can do that makes sense.
Mhm.
So that's gonna be a big one. I had this TikTok for a while. I think it's LordKnight FGC. I honestly forgot, but I'm gonna try to be pushing that the most next year. I have an Instagram too, but honestly, it's not a fighting game Instagram. It's just me on the streets, like just
Mhm.
like walking around, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably like my next big project, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You're totally right about the short form stuff being
Mhm.
super key to growth. Just from like my own experience of just like putting something on YouTube versus cutting a clip and putting it on Shorts and TikTok and stuff. Like the metrics for it are so different, and the exposure it
Yeah.
gets.
Yeah, there are two different algorithms on YouTube, right? There's like a shorts and a long form. So the
Mhm,
people who say that don't do content, they're just seeing that shorts get a lot of views.
mhm,
But the problem is that that is true, and you could definitely get a subscriber base from shorts, but you got that from shorts. So let's say that like I wanted to grind shorts, all those subscribers from shorts probably are not going to watch my 1 hour and 15-minute video with mustard, for example,
mhm,
right? That's a long video. There's probably a higher chance of people who watch my long form content to watch a 30-second clip, like short, than somebody who only watches like shorts to watch that. So that's actually the main reason I want to do the short form content on not my main YouTube channel.
mhm,
So I figured TikTok would be a good testing ground. It's independent of everything else. There's actually a fighting game content community there. Like I actually did the video in 2022 on like fighting game TikToks specifically,
mhm.
where I just like watched. You know, if you watch YouTube, you've probably stumbled on a content creator using TikTok for content. So I was like, no one has done this in fighting games. I'm gonna do it. And there's a whole community that just independently of everybody of just them doing that. So
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see. Anyway, that's my shtick. That's what I'm doing next year.
Yeah,
That's my big thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, I'll put all your links down below. I'll put them in the
Of
video
course.
as well. And not to just turn this into another topic or anything, but what you were saying about not just for any other content creators out there that having intention with what you want to do with your content and finding an angle to approach is always going to lead you to a lot more success than just, hey, I'm grinding ranked and I'm putting up matches. So I think that's great advice for everyone to hear.
Yeah. If someone needed an extra point about that, it'd be like think about and by the way, normal people would not think like this, but there are definitely people who have been in like the have I have met people who are like small content creators, but they've been trying for a while, who have definitely expressed this sentiment to me in anger of they've been grinding for a while, they haven't gotten, let's say, gotten as much growth as they wanted,
Mhm,
and then they'll see somebody just like start a channel and the thing like explodes in like 6 months, 5 6 months, whatever. And when I tell them why, like a lot of the reason why that happens is like most people will just be like, oh, they did something that's never been done before. That's not totally true. Like that is definitely a reason. But
mhm,
another big reason would be that person could be like, let's say the equivalent to myself. Like imagine like me in another timeline doing like finance for 15 years of fighting games, right? So
mhm,
I do finance for 15 years. Maybe I write a book. Maybe I go on like, I don't know, Fox Business or whatever, just TV stuff. So I have all this stuff I already did and all this knowledge. Then I start my YouTube channel. There's of course, I already learned all the marketing stuff and how to set up stuff already from all the time I spent doing it before, just not on that platform. So like, especially since gaming is by far, it's like top five hardest hardest content niche to be in, because the bar is so low. You have to play a video game. That's the bar is so low to do video game content. It's like
mhm,
fitness, video games, like beauty. I don't know why I did this for beauty, but like like commentary videos. Like there's a few niches that are like extra hard.
mhm,
So like when you go into these like extra hard niches, you really got to think about what you are going to bring to the table. So my thing at the beginning, for example, if you wanted one, was
yeah,
that I thought that one thing I could do is that I feel like I can explain things in fighting games really well because of like my approach to fighting games.
mhm,
So I could make beginner a lot of like people in FGC, they complain about like beginner guides. They're like all people do is post beginner guides. No one learns real game stuff. But the people who do beginner guides, for example, they also play like like Rufomonger, for example, he
yeah,
plays everything,
mhm,
literally everything. So they're like, oh, he doesn't talk about the games. I'm like, bro, he plays literally everything. You play just this.
Yeah.
where he play like he'll upload an MK video and then upload a Virtua Fighter video and then upload a Guilty Gear video. Like he plays everything,
Hmm.
right? So I was like, okay, I play Dragon Ball in tournaments, where Humongo does not, and like Crofts, the homie Crofts doesn't, right? So I
Hmm.
could make a beginner guide, but then have something in there will be like, oh, once you learn this, you can actually do this,
Hmm.
right? So you could actually bring their level up in the video, which will help the new people, and they'll understand why high level players do what they do. And people who watch FGC content who are tournament players will be like, oh, you put that thing in. That was pretty cool. Like it just everyone's happy, basically.
Yeah.
So that was the angle I started with at the beginning. And then over time I started adding other stuff like, like history videos or talking about games that like people like love now, but they don't really, I'm saying love like they don't love it. Like they love now and then like but like people forgot about past versions or like old broken stuff. Like a lot of like popular fighting game content creators are all Street Fighter players, or like they all play the same archetypes. Like many people just play grapplers or shotos. I play like really, even though I play a bunch of different type of characters, I'm overall known for like these like weird science characters. So I realized the more I did it, I actually have more to bring to the table than that. But you start with the one thing, and then you go.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Anyway, I just talk about
That's
content all day. Honestly, I love talking about content as much as I like talk about fighting it.
no, dude. I'm happy to talk about this stuff with you because you have a lot of like really great insights into this. You've been doing it for a while, and you also you're very well spoken about everything. You're great at like taking your ideas and communicating them in a way that is very approachable for everyone, very accessible. And I think your success so far just speaks to that strength. So I'm excited to see where things take you from here, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. As of my end, my name is John Messe. You can follow me on Twitch at Messe7799, Twitter and Instagram at John Messe. I think TikTok is at John Messe as well. I have to double check that. And we have a Discord. Discord is full of very chill people. Come hang out. You'll get alerted when I stream, when a YouTube video goes up. All those links will be posted down below on the video. And on that note, again, LordKnight, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, take care, everybody.